So the conversation today is not about doing what is right. It's about doing what is smart. I've been in the business a long time, and every time I transact a sale, I let my brands know that what they're doing is they're connecting to an audience that they need in order to grow their businesses, whether you're an agency or a client. So these publishers are brilliant and they're worthy of my time. I happen to be the mentor for them for this second cohort, but more importantly, they're worthy of media investment, and that's what we're here to talk about today. So when we leave Las Vegas, if you're in person or watching this video, can you Photoshop? I want to make sure I look good in the video. Also, that we must be intentional about our media choices. So we are asking today for you to choose us. All right, couple of housekeeping items. After we hear from our amazing publishers today, we have a happy hour where you can talk to them, ask them questions, get to know them better. We wanted to set that time up. Then it's going to be followed by a panel discussion about how brands and ad tech can drive impact while driving impressions. That's going to be a really powerful conversation. So without further ado, let's get this celebration started. Can the founders of Black-Owned Media Equity and the founders of Black-Owned Media Equity and Sustainability Institute, better known as BOMESI, put your food down? Ronisha Bing and Davon Christopher Johnson. Everyone, we all know you, but if you don't know them now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm really excited to be in this space today. And for us to show up for these diverse owned publishers is so important. But also what's important is what Michelle highlighted. They have so much value to deliver to your brand, your clients as well. So excited to be here. My name is Ronisha Bing. I am the co-founder of BOMESI, but I'm also a founder myself of Her Agenda, of a digital media platform called Her Agenda. BOMESI is an acronym. It stands for Black-Owned Media Equity and Sustainability Institute, and we'll get a little bit into that, but I'll let my co-founder introduce.
Hey guys, good afternoon. Yes, I was enjoying my lunch, but here I am. Davon Christopher Johnson, co-founder of BOMESI, but also independent publisher with 18 years independent media experience. I run a platform called Blue Life Media Group based out of New York. We're print and digital and experiential. And yes, BOMESI stands for Black-Owned Media Equity Sustainability Institute. Every word was chosen intentionally. Every word has meaning. And every word drives what we think is the impact and change that the media industry needed to be really diverse and truly drive sales results.
We launched it in 2020, and we're built around 3 pillars. The first one is ecosystem building. So part of that is rooms like this today where we bring together brands, advertisers, all of the components that are necessary for a healthy media platform to thrive. And we create opportunities for that to exist and to grow and to manifest. Another pillar of ours is education. So we provide education on both sides. So we educate brands and agencies on the most equitable ways to do deal flow with diverse and Black-owned media. And we also educate diverse-owned media in terms of what they need to do to be more competitive in the digital media landscape. So that's anything from audience development and growth to SEO, to even connecting them to ad tech partners that will help them to monetize their platforms. And the last part of it is economic empowerment. And that's also part of why we're here today, because part of that economic empowerment is making sure dollars flow to diverse-owned media. That's through revenue, through campaigns, but also upfront investment. And that's what we did with this accelerator program. These companies went through 3 months of training, resources, mentorship, but we also distributed grants of $25,000 to each company to invest in their growth.
Yes, proud of us. So I think we have up next, 'cause it's really about the publishers here. We do have a video from the funder for this project, General Motors. The video is going to play now.
My name is Tarshina Armstrong, and I am the Director of Diversity Marketing and Development at General Motors.
And my name is Charles Chapman, and I lead our multicultural marketing efforts for GM Brand. And we want to applaud you for completing the BOMESI Accelerator program.
At General Motors, we have the aspiration to be the most inclusive company in the world. It is important for our organization to align with programs like BOMESI to advance the marketing and media ecosystem.
We are hopeful that you were able to lean into this immersive program, build your network, elevate your brand, and expand your media capabilities.
Good luck on your upfront presentation. You got this. And we hope you enjoyed BOMESI and CES.
Shout out to GM for being a supporter, investing in the future and supporting this program. I think without further ado, I'll pass the mic back over to our MC to get to the main attraction.
Let's get started.
All right. Thank you guys for that. We are in 2024 and we still need programs like this because we still know that there is not parity in the marketplace. And so without further ado, my homegirl from Oakland, California, I was born and raised there, is Cherie Williams. She's going to be presenting Cuisine Noir.
My name is Cherie Williams, and I am the publisher of Cuisine Noir magazine, which connects the African diaspora through food, drink, and travel. Cuisine Noir pioneered Black food media 14 years ago to fill a gap in storytelling, specifically within the culinary industry, to tell Black food stories and change narratives that often left out Black contributions. Our mission then and now is to use the power of storytelling to amplify and connect Black food, travel, and drink stories, communities across the African diaspora. Cuisine Noir is a digital and print media platform with a global footprint across the United States. Since 2009, we have pioneered and shifted powerful narratives to celebrate history and culture within Black communities. Cuisine Noir uplifts traditions, builds connections, honors family legacies, and most importantly, gives a voice and a look into our past, present, and future. As a trusted voice within food media and Black communities, our audience comes to us for trusted journalism, food and drink happenings, opportunities for businesses and entrepreneurs, and cultural connections, especially through travel. We engage over 10,000 readers each month and connect with 58 email subscribers and 12,000 social media followers each week. Our monthly reach includes over 500,000 digital impressions, an open rate of 31% on our newsletters, and over 10,000 social media impressions. Why reach the Cuisine Noir audience? There are several reasons to connect with our audience that center around loyalty and what our audience feels is important. To share a few, our audience supports brands who have a commitment to diversity, equity, and social justice. They increasingly influence mainstream choices with their brand preferences. They have reported that friends and family come to them for advice before making purchases. They're twice as likely to have a strong emotional connection to a brand and therefore more likely to recommend those brands to others. And lastly, they're willing to pay premium prices when it comes to quality for goods and services, and this includes food and beverages. To tell you a little bit more about our audience, 79% are female, 16% have reported being male, 35% of our audience are between the ages of 45 to 54, and 21 are between the ages of 22 to 34. 37% of our audience have a college degree, while 35% have graduate degrees. Our household income ranges from $75,000 to $124,000 a year. 41% of our audience is married, while 66% own a home and 54% have children. 1.8 million. That is the projected buying power of African Americans this year in 2024 and will continue to grow year after year. Our audience, of course, is among this powerful group of consumers who are buying products and services. We call them the millionaires next door due to their low-key affluent lifestyle, which is rich in food, culture, and travel. Who are they? And where are they spending their disposable income? They are culinary professionals, as well as business professionals, entrepreneurs, lawyers, doctors, and students. They like to dine out, travel the world. They love to spend their money on entertainment, shopping, and cooking. When it comes to social media, you can find them on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok. And then most importantly, they access Cuisine Noir first via mobile, desktop, followed by tablet. Cuisine Noir's primary platforms to reach communities include digital and our annual print publications. In addition, it's our sister platform, Diaspora Food Stories Podcast, which is another way to creatively reach and engage our audience. Our digital presence is our flagship platform that launched our storytelling journey. Our weekly content includes well-researched and written features, book and product reviews, and industry happenings to inform our audience about the latest collaborations, celebrity wine brands, high-profile events, and more. Digital displays are available, strategically placed for maximum exposure on desktop, mobile, and tablet devices. Food within the Black community is personal and it's sacred. Simply put, we don't play around. Recipe collaboration offers an amazing opportunity to build loyalty within our community with cultural recipes we love, and also to introduce new flavors, techniques, and textures. Our talented team of food creators will hit the delicious mark every time with a finished recipe to be shared on Cuisine Noir, as well as through syndicated platforms such as Flipboard, Google News, Newsbreak, and Smart News, and along with a short how-to video to be shared on social media. Last September, we rebranded our newsletter called The Weekly Dish and changed it from twice a week to weekly each Thursday to ensure that we're getting through the clutter. Each week, our newsletter is sent to over 58 subscribers, highlighting the latest articles, headlines that matter to the community, a calendar of events, or sneak peeks at podcast episodes, and opportunities geared toward everyday enthusiasts and professionals, along with business spotlights. Our annual print issue continues to be highly anticipated each year as we reach around the globe to amplify Black food stories in a way that's never been done before. Each year, we print 7,500 copies that are printed and distributed through the U.S. through our partners that include bookstores, restaurants, wine and coffee shops, and they're also available on Issue and Zenio. This year, we'll begin working on another special issue that will highlight the Black community's return back to the land via farming, agriculture, and indigenous practices as they look to feed their communities and the world. In 2022, we knew that we couldn't just have another podcast, but one that really allowed our guests to speak their truths and celebrate Black food culture. To date, we've produced 45 episodes with 83% of our audience listening here in the United States, with 59% of African Americans listening to podcasts that varies among the streaming platforms, listening around a variety of topics. Food is just one. In addition to our English episodes, we also have Celebrate the African Diaspora through languages, and so we do have select episodes available in Spanish, French, and Portuguese. We've had the pleasure of working with various brands over the years, from digital to print placements and recipe development. Our most recent collaborations include New, which is a brand of African salts which recently launched in the United States, looking to build awareness, and Tyson, a household name known for their chicken products. We look forward to working with more brands with the goal of collaboration that creatively engages our audience. And lastly, just a little peek into our work. For the last 8 years, we've been working with the Specialty Food Association, which highlights food producers in different categories. And one of the things that we noticed was a lack of diversity at their shows and therefore exposure to trade in order to get those products out there. So through just series of conversations, being actively involved, we were able to just work with them to be able to increase awareness of the shows among Black communities, especially Black businesses. To date, if you walk through the show, which will happen to be in Vegas in a couple of weeks, you'll definitely see an increase of Black producers that are now able to showcase their products to a variety of trades, such as retailers and restaurants. You'll also see diversity, inclusions, and just more efforts overall being made to make sure that their voice within these industries are being shared. Thank you for your time. It was such a pleasure presenting Cuisine Noir to you today, and I look forward to connecting with many of you after. Thank you.
One more round of applause. She went first. She was prepared. Her presentation looked great. She's from Oakland. Oh, sorry, I said that already. Ryan Sorrell is going to present his amazing platform.
Every few decades or so, a revolutionary communication technology drastically transforms our paradigms. From the papyrus scroll to Black Twitter, these innovations have forever been driven by our instinct to connect faster, more authentically, and more meaningfully. At the Kansas City Defender, we've had the opportunity to incite such monumental shifts in just the 2 years of our existence. In 2021, just 3 months after I launched our platform, while I was unemployed and still living with my parents, we broke our first national story. From this story, we began consistently garnering more social media engagement than every local news outlet in our city combined. This story also propelled us into the regional spotlight and staked our position in the media ecosystem as a force to be reckoned with for years to come. Within 1 year, we grew our audience over 25x. We had been featured in Harvard's Neiman Labs publication. We had reached over 10 million people, and we won our first national award for our groundbreaking media and community building model. But today I want to introduce you all to the 3 pillars of our organization that make us who we are. The first one, as I've mentioned, is an award-winning digital publication. The second is a community building and events platform. And the last is a groundbreaking youth-led cultural and social movement. And so again, in 2 years, we've emerged as one of the fastest growing Black nonprofit digital startups in the United States. Embracing our role as the Black digital social hub, forging the future of culture, we've innovated an unprecedented model for reaching Gen Z and the youth. We've also hosted cultural events, which I'll get to in a second, but we are the young Black person's guide to transforming their community and the world. And our community taps into our platform for timely insights into everything from the hottest nightlife spots, the latest music drops and fashion trends, to protests and mutual aid events, as you can see. And we've also hosted numerous cultural events like hip-hop concerts, open mic nights, and this one you see here is a celebrity basketball tournament that we hosted where we brought in a famous YouTube celebrity named Slim, and we had hundreds of young Black people who drove literally from hours away in order to be able to attend this event. And I mentioned all of this to unequivocally illustrate our immense and growing influence in our region and why we are so obsessed with our model and how it enables us to motivate our audiences in the way that we do. So I'll show you exactly what I mean here. And I think this concise visual can help understand our organization's superpower. In the bottom right corner here, you'll see traditional legacy brands that capture local and regional audiences, but they're rarely, if ever, able to reach Gen Z or millennials, and a nearly non-existent number are able to reach BIPOC Gen Z or millennials. In the top left corner, you'll see that there are platforms that know how to reach Gen Z. That's your Shade Rooms, your World Stars, Baller Alert. You can also add Teen Vogue and others to that. But again, they're not able to reach audiences in that local or regional sphere. And our niche is precisely at that intersection between young people and local/regional. Again, a niche that an incredibly small number of media brands have been able to reach. And these are just some examples of our award-winning coverage areas. We cover justice, politics, education, arts and culture, Black business, and world. So I also want to just give you a glimpse at the span of our influence and show you some of the notable figures who follow us. As you'll see, the list ranges from A-list celebrities in the entertainment space to major philanthropists and the founder of Craigslist, multiple Hollywood directors to United States congresspeople, NBA coaches and players, CNN producers, New York Times editors, and much more. And what you'll see at the bottom of the screen is a vital metric that we call access, meaning the total number of followers that we have access to as a result of the monumental figures who engage, interact with, and share content from our platform. And again, I highlighted those 4 people right there. I don't know if everybody knows who Funny Marco is, but he's one of the premier interviewers in pop culture right now. He's interviewed everybody from Nicki Minaj like 2 weeks ago to all kinds of A-list celebrities. We have Ava DuVernay right there, Sleazy World Go, and the director of Bel Air, who's also from Kansas City. Since our launch in July of 2021, we've broken over 15 national stories, reached over 50 million impressions, grown our audience to over 75,000 across platforms. And again, that age range that we reach is between 13 to 30-year-old range, and 60% of our audience comprises that range right there. I also want to quickly cover what I call audience or community density, and I use this phrase to describe how engaged our audience is. And so the national average Instagram engagement rate is between 0.7 and 1.5%. Specifically in the entertainment and media space, it hovers around 0.7%. Whereas our engagement rate, specifically because of our model and how it's local and regional in nature, we are able to consistently reach an average of 8.5% for our engagement rate. With many months, we sit at over 10%. We also reach over 500,000 impressions a month across all platforms. And our audience continues to grow exponentially since our launch, straddling between 5 to 10x every year. By next year, we're aiming for 375,000 people in our community, which would be roughly 40% of all Black people across Missouri and Kansas. I also want to just highlight again why it's so important. I know that we have a lot of marketers either in the room or who are watching this, and I just want to highlight again why it's so important to be reaching Gen Z. Their buying power currently sits at over $360 billion, and that has doubled in just the past 4 years alone. These are some additional reasons why we think it's incredibly valuable for brands to be reaching Gen Z right now. They're brand builders and talkers. They're trendsetters. They're the fastest growing spending power, the most racially diverse community that exists. They're advocates for social and environmental change, and they're tech savvy and innovation driven. So this is very clearly the audience that brands want and need to be reaching right now. These are some of the things that you'll get by working with us. You get targeted reach with surgical precision, unmatched cultural connection and trust, endorsement by cultural authority, and innovative and interactive advertising solutions. And ultimately what this all comes down to is that we help our clients tap into what's next, leveraging the power of authentic storytelling and trend-setting influence to engage with the generation shaping the future of style, politics, business, and social activism. And so these are the platforms, our properties that we advertise across, which includes our social media, our TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter collectively, where we have over 75,000 followers in our community. Our digital newsletter, where we have just about 6,000 subscribers on our email newsletter right now. We also offer branded content and sponsored content opportunities, as well as live and experiential events. As far as our website and homepage, we also offer premium leaderboard ads, premium billboard ads, premium side positions, the standard that you would see on website advertising. And lastly, I hope you will join us in this exciting new chapter and to be the first to connect with our audience of young, engaged, and vibrant community. As we grow, so will the impact of your brand, and I hope that we can pioneer this path together. Thank you all so much.
I'm so glad that I'm at the end of my career. I would not want to be trying to compete with these really smart, amazing, prepared individuals. Great job, Ryan. Next up, we have the Skanner News. Jerry Foster will present his platform. Come on up, Jerry.
My name is Jerry Foster, and I am the Advertising Marketing Director for the Skanner News, challenging people to shape a better community. The Skanner News Group is a newspaper and a website published in Portland, Oregon, and Seattle, Washington. It was established in 1975 and has been promoting the cause of the Black press in northwestern United States ever since. Through its website and newspaper, the Skanner provides effective marketing solutions to regional and national advertisers who are reaching out to our readers who represent a vibrant consumer market with needs, desires, and demands. Ignoring such a diverse group would be unwise for corporations. By advertising with the Skanner, you'll be diversifying your advertising and reaching the best of both markets. Reach the right audience right now. Emphasize targeting the right audience at the right time. 89% of customers research online before in-store purchases. Creating a research online, buy offline, or buy online trend. There's 51% male, our readers and our users, 51% male, as well as 49% females. As you can see, the demographics are broken down into years, so you see a cross-wide margin of readers that we reach, as far as 18 to 34-year-olds, 54 on up to 65 years old. The Black consumer, $1.7 trillion, is significant when viewed from a demographic perspective. Retailers must stay ahead of Gen Z digital expectations to succeed in today's market. We provide different streams of access to our users. Through digital, print, and special events, we provide an effective way to branch out and diversify spending. Our digital offering and social media platform includes Facebook, Twitter, which is now X, YouTube, and through our web edition that can be accessed through theskanner.com. Additionally, we offer email news blasts twice a week, but these can be tailored for you if you want to do more. We are able to provide you with that each week. We release various special issues throughout the year that you can take advantage of, such as the Martin Luther King Jr. edition, Black History, Housing, Careers, Back to School, and Minority Business Enterprise edition. Businesses must adapt to Gen Z's purchasing habits as they hold a disposable income of $360 billion. With high digital expectations and always online, staying ahead of their preference is crucial to engage and maintain them as customers. By the start of the next decade, 48% of spending will be led by millennials and Gen Z. As you can see, the inventory for online goes from leaderboard to large banners. Large banners are the mobile aspect of it. But however, we can take these numbers and we can put these numbers together effectively so that you can reach across from laptop to mobile. Your message is getting out there. The Skanner hosts a breakfast every January for King's Day that draw over 1,200 people, and it's a cross-section of the community from the citizens or the community members, businesses, corporations, as well as senators or politicians who come to this event to be a part to recognize the works of Dr. King. Also, this year, we're giving out a large number of scholarships to students that are in that are graduating from high school or who are in college. And that number is 35. And it's went up from last year, 10 more from last year, which was 25. So you can see how effective it is and how we continue to work towards getting our youth their continuous education. We do the Juneteenth edition, Juneteenth. We have been doing Juneteenth for the last 12 years. It's just now recently been nationally recognized. But we kept pushing in our own community because this is information that is very vital for us to continue to move on. The Juneteenth edition picks out the educational aspect of it because we have to understand our past to embrace the present in order for us to look forward to the future. We have a home buyers fair that has over 1,200 attendees, as well as 40 professional individuals who help put people into their first time home. I said first time home. And they walk them through the whole process and they get additional dollars to help them with their down payment. And they're able to access all of that through this program. Pink Sunday has us highlighting breast cancer. The woman you see in the photo here, she was 95 years old and she has survived breast cancer for 60 years. So you see the importance of recognizing those who went through it, and it gives an excellent opportunity to educate about cancer, period. We have over 40 exhibitors who come in, and we go through the health, we go through wellness, and one of the things that really affects is mental health. We take you through that to help you go through the process. Also, there is the Pacific Northwest Multicultural Reader Series and Film Festival. And this festival brings together local as well as national celebrities to come in and help push the arts, because we need the arts in our community. We need the arts because it helps us to wind down. The Wake of Vanport is an important part of what we do. We continue to recognize those survivors of the 1948 flood that displaced over 18,000. Dividing 1.7 million among 24 million Americans may seem small, but it accounts for 7% of the national income. Entrepreneurs should consider Black consumers' lifestyle, motivation, and purchasing habits. Many corporations continue to create programs to attract this particular market, proving its importance. And last but not least, thank you for any of your consideration, and we'll be much happy to have that conversation with you later on. But remember, if you haven't bought the Skanner, you haven't bought the Pacific Northwest.
Excellent job. I want to just make sure everyone noticed what I saw, that the majority of his audience is 18 to 34, but he's talking about topics that you would think would not resonate with that audience. I can tell you that that audience is very interested, and the way that you're laying it out makes it digestible. So thank you for connecting brands to this amazing audience with relevant information, Jerry. That was an amazing presentation. All right, we have up next who brought her baby with her. Not her husband, the other baby. We have Adedayo Fashanu.
So before I get fully into my presentation, how many of you recognize any of these faces? Okay, all right. I see a few hands. Awesome. My name is Adedayo Fashanu, and I am the CEO of TANTV. I want you to think of us as the secret weapon to connecting with the African diaspora community. Today, the African diaspora have permanent homes outside of the continent, but maintain their unique culture and identity by building communities. Black storytelling is not monolithic. What's happening in American media is that stories of Black people are not representative of the whole story, and Black people are lumped under one identity. Black representation on American mainstream has surely changed over time. However, there's room for progress. So I am a Nigerian-born woman who has called the United States home for over 17 years. I moved to the US from Nigeria for college at the age of 15, and I've since grown to building a life, having a career, and even a family. I am what you would call part of the foreign-born African diaspora. I also, every now and then, would send money home to Nigeria, which is referred to as remittance. These are behaviors that I exhibit that speaks to my cultural background. I attend a Nigerian church. I love and cook jollof rice. I listen to Afrobeat and amapiano, although I don't know how to dance, but that's just me. All Africans must know how to dance. So these traits and more speak to my unique cultural identity. I founded TANTV in 2019 to cater to this community, to the African and multicultural Black diaspora communities, out of sheer insights from being a part of this community that has gained increased importance all around, from culture, politics, policy making, sports, academia, and entrepreneurship, both in their newfound home and their home country. They are politically active and able to make their voices and cause heard. So in fact, mainstream media is just now catching up to pay attention to this community as Afrobeat has gained mainstream popularity, and you have artists like Burna Boy or Davido begin selling out stadiums. TANTV is the digital home of the African diaspora. Our vision is to advance and elevate the inclusion of the African and Black diaspora in American society. So basically, I would say that we created TANTV to allow lovers of Africa and its descendants interact, engage, and be informed about the tasteful richness of the African diaspora community through stories that reflect their daily lives. Let's talk about our audience. We cater to the 47 million Africans diasporans that live in the US, including our audience, which is multi-generational, and they are made up of 3 groups. So approximately 50% of our audience comprises of the first-generation Africans in America, individuals like myself born from abroad from countries like Nigeria. You have Ghana, South Africa, Tanzania, and so on, who now reside in the US, representing a vital growing segment of the 5 million African immigrants. Then you also have about 40% African Americans who are second, third generation African American looking to reconnect and stay updated with their culture. And 10% of our audience are lovers of Africa that include other races interested in African our culture. Before TANTV, there was a void in American media for African and multicultural Black communities to connect, to share their voices and see their lived experiences reflected. Our audience is situated in the heart of major cities like DC, Atlanta, Dallas, and more. And they extend to rural and suburban areas, enabling us to reach them wherever they may be. Our audience, they're truly unique and unduplicated. They're evenly split between men and women and predominantly between the ages of 18 and 45, composed primarily of highly educated, 96% with advanced degrees. They are also career-driven professionals and entrepreneurs, owning businesses, that work with leading U.S. corporations. They enjoy upward mobility. These affluent individuals have significant purchasing power. They boast an average household income of over $98,000. They readily invest in products, in services, and experiences that resonates with their aspirations. One thing you should know is that TANTV caters to the fastest growing African diaspora groups in the United States. These groups are united by their shared love for their culture, such as music, food, business, tourism, trade and investment, and community. Our audience are cultural influencers and fusionists, which means they bring in their mix of heritage and the American culture. Their median household income is 34% higher than native-born Black Americans, solidifying their status as both affluent and loyal brand consumers with substantial purchasing power. They also contribute an impressive $96 billion in remittances to their home countries. They are a significant market and an actively engaged community that frequents TANTV for meaningful interaction to stay informed and to exchange insights on stories, events, and happenings that affect their daily lives. We reach over 350,000 people monthly across the internet and more than 200,000 across our socials. And we boast a very loyal audience base with over 10,000 monthly users and newsletter subscribers. We have collaborated with organizations across technology, media, entertainment, consumer goods, and the nonprofit sector to enhance their connections with the diaspora community, establishing our reputation for authenticity and effectiveness. Our work is so recognized that we were invited to meet with the U.S. Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, in a high-stake meeting with key diaspora organizations and the White House to be a participant in the U.S. African Leaders Summit. Our work has been recognized across the likes of Forbes, HuffPost, Washington Post, and more. Our media ecosystem includes digital, which is tantvstudios.com. I'd like to pause here to have you visit TANTV Studios and subscribe right away. Video and in-person events. You can reach our audience through display advertising in various formats on our website, which is also a very powerful way to get the word out about your brand and your products. Our multi-format sponsored content provides an opportunity for you to showcase your initiatives, to build awareness and create thought leadership in your verticals. Our newsletters are also a great way to embed your brand and have direct access to our loyal reader base with an average open rate of 47%. One of the main reasons that companies come to TANTV is because they want to get the word out about their new or existing products. Whether it be introducing a new payment solution to our audience, like we did with Oroki, which saw over 500,000 campaign impressions, or to build awareness for initiative programs like we did with Only Theater located in Maryland in Fela, helping them reach a niche audience. Or awareness campaigns like we did for Davido for his Timeless album concert tour. Our advertising approach basically is to present your initiatives or products to the people who care the most and want to engage with them based on your target consumer demographic and stage. We've supported brands and organizations' events and activations with over 20,000 attendees just last year. And now, the icing on the cake. We offer exciting opportunities with multiple touch points to authentically engage our audience, ensuring your brand's relevance. And this year, we're thrilled to announce a key upcoming event that you can be a part of. TANTV Talks inaugural African Diaspora Summit 2024. This multi-day event, comprising a summit, dinner, and concert will convene leading diaspora-focused organizations across various sectors. Together, we will explore the evolving landscape of the African diaspora within American society, examine its intersections with food, culture, business, entertainment as catalysts for change. Thank you.
All righty. What is the power of Upscale? After 35 years in the media industry, Upscale has always had an insightful content and beautiful designs, therefore making it an ideal platform for a variety of brands looking to reach a discerning audience. It's really quite simple. Upscale celebrates and empowers the African American community and culture. Why Upscale? We're not just a magazine. We are a symbol of success and longevity. We take pride in our rich history. We are Black-owned and operated, and a true testament to diversity and empowerment. Our editorial focus is as vast as our covers. We strive to inspire, inform, and engage, and educate our readers and followers. That's me in the middle. And that's some of our leadership team. Our ecosystem, or our brand footprint, not only includes our print magazine, we have digital properties, events and activations, and we're evolving enterprises. Be on the lookout for Upscale TV and Upscale mobile app coming soon in 2024. How about that? Let's see. Our print audience. Actually, this page is kind of self-explanatory. However, note the readers per copy. It's a little bit higher than most publications because Upscale's subscribers are based in the beauty industry and beauty and barbershop specifically. Their businesses service and caters to hundreds of clients monthly. Those viewers are reading Upscale while they're in the beauty and barbershop. So our readership is actually 70%, over 70% female. These women are well-educated and affluent. They are powerful brand ambassadors. They are a community of international and domestic travelers. They are well-read, and they are highly motivated. They also have a buying power of over $1 billion. Upscale digital audience is steadily growing. Our followers are engaged. And again, we have creative content, live interviews, interactive dialogue on all of our digital platforms. Upscale's editorial calendar relates to everyone. It covers a myriad of topics that resonates through all generations. Events and activations. Upscale's founding company is Bronner Brothers. The Bronner Brothers show is 77 years old this year and is one of the largest African-American beauty shows in the world. In 2024, thank you. In 2024, Upscale will integrate the Raise Up Media and Marketing Elevation Experience. This panel will discuss and educate attendees on the changes in the current media world, as well as invite our media sponsors and partners to discuss Upscale's growth and progress in the industry. Upscale Experience Expo in August is an actual 3-day celebration of Upscale turning 35. So we are excited about that. By creating these activations, Upscale will continue to grow and promote our brands and increase our digital footprint, as well as connect with new partners and sponsors. I invite you to join us as we continue to redefine our standards and be present whenever there is progress and growth in the African American community. I'll leave you with this. Integrity is doing the right thing when no one is looking. Dedication is doing what is need to be done at all times. Upscale epitomizes integrity and is dedicated to the promotion and progress of the African American culture. In closing, please feel free to reach out to Upscale should you require any further information on any of our properties or offerings. I thank you for your time.
Great job, Millie. I want to say that in 2024, it's a shame that we need a publication to tell the amazing things that we're doing because nobody else will. And so Upscale is necessary to tell our stories, to capture our successes, because if you can see it, you can be it. The last thing I'll say, my daughter is a freshman at Harvard this year, and every time she tells somebody that, they look surprised. So we got a lot of work to do, and we need Upscale to tell our stories. I had to get a little plug in for my baby girl. Anyway, who has not heard of the 50th year of hip hop? Come on, I know everybody has. They said hip hop was going to be dead 20 years ago. It's still going. I think we're still going to celebrate 50 years coming this following year. It'll be 51, but we're going to stand on 50. Cody has an amazing platform, and he's going to do a great job sharing this.
I'm Cody, and I'm the CEO of What's the Word Media Incorporated. So it's coaching and conversation inspiring the next generation. So we're a digital media platform that leverages the power of hip-hop to inform, inspire, educate, and the next generation of leaders and creators and innovators. We're more than music, we're a movement. So most people describe hip-hop as just music, right? When you think of hip-hop, like she said, 50-year hip-hop, you think of the music. But hip-hop now in 2024 is a lifestyle. Hip-hop is the way you dress. Hip-hop is the way you talk. It's the way you... it could be from simple as we was talking about Black Siri last night. Like hip hop is it's a culture. It's embedded in us. To me, hip hop is described as Black American culture because it's a whole history behind that. But we're gonna go to the next slide. So this is me, right? So every great product, it starts with a vision and it starts with an idea. What's the Word was when it started with me. So coming from the South Side of Chicago, we wasn't really exposed to a lot of things outside of our neighborhood. So it was when I went to college down in Carbondale, Illinois, when I was exposed to different ideas, different possibilities. I was given resources to make ideas that I had in my head come to life. And one of the ideas that I curated was this platform called What's the Word. After graduating in 2013, I took this platform and we took it to Chicago. This part of the story is so important is because Chicago did not have a mainstream media hip hop publication. So What's the Word filled that void, and 10 years later, we're the number one platform for hip-hop in the Midwest. It takes a lot of confidence to say you're the number one platform in the Midwest. But to get there, it takes, you have to put in a lot of work. And part of that work was studying. So as you can see, I study some of the top platforms nationally in the game that come from publications, that come from podcasts, that come from just social media pages, studied their structure, study how they brand themselves, study how they present themselves. Study how the conversations they presented. Study how they represented the culture. I took the bits and pieces of each one of those platforms that I like, added my own little twist to it, and you have What's the Word. So this is the fun part. This is the part that we all hear, right? Our ecosystem, or I like to call it our communities, right? So it's not followers, it's not listeners. This is a community. What's the Word is filled with communities, right? Filled with real people, with real ideas, and most important, they got money. We broke those communities down into three. So we got our digital community. Those are people that follow us on social media, they engage with us on social media. Those are people that engage with our articles on the websites. We have our video and podcasts. So those are the people that love to hear and talk about trending conversations. They love to hear from their favorite celebrities. They love their politicians. But my favorite is events. Events is when you can really sit down and interact with those who support you. you can really get those feedback to how to make your publication better. You really see how your brand is affecting one another, affecting the community. One of my favorite events that What's the Word is a part of is our Juneteenth block party. This block party, we had over 3,000 people attend on the south side of Chicago. 90% of the resources used to create this block party were Black-owned businesses. Everything down to the guys that created the porta potties. The porta potty companies was Black-owned. What's the Word invites your brand to be included with some of the best national and local brands that we've partnered and curated content with. As you can see, that we have access to some of the hottest influencers, record label execs, and rising stars. This here is like one of my favorite campaigns that we did. Over the pandemic, the city of Chicago reached out to us to spread awareness about the COVID-19 vaccine. The strategy that we used was so effective that it got over 2 million impressions. And the city of Chicago, for lack of a better words, they read over with us the whole pandemic because they love the engagement we got into the Black and brown community in Chicago. This page is pretty much self-explanatory. It describes our digital audience by numbers. Also, it describes our monthly impressions. The part that I want you guys to pay most of the attention to is the email. See, thing is with emailing, when you start thinking about digital, we don't own Twitter. We don't own Facebook. We don't own Instagram. Instagram crashes all the time. Twitter crashes all the time. Facebook crashes all the time. But as by us having those followers that's engaging with us, that's subscribing to us, we have access to them no matter what. And having a 50% open rate, which is way beyond the industry standards, lets know our followers love the information, the things that we represent to them. Also, with our click rate being 5 times the industry standard, which is also amazing. You know, in school, they say you supposed to pass with A, but my name started with a C, so we going to pass with C's. So community, credibility, creativity, and consistency, right? That's how you build culture. And that's what we did here. And building this type of culture is why hip-hop trusts us. And if you work with us, they're going to trust you. Here's a clear example that hip-hop trusts us. These are some of our notable followers, or people in our communities. Their combined total following gives us access to 30 plus million. That's 30 plus million that your brand could be seen on. Here's just a few examples of them DMing us, engaging with our content, sharing our content. We got people anywhere from Chance the Rapper, Tiana Taylor, SZA, RP Juice WRLD. Thank you.
Cody is creative, and Cody came today with a 7-minute video. And we're like, no, Cody, you gonna not show that video, and you gonna get up here and speak. So can we give him another round of applause for getting that together, giving a great presentation, because I wanted you guys to see, everyone to see, that if you Google what a CEO looked like, Corey's picture does not come up. Ryan's picture does not come up. Michelle G's picture does not come up. Most of our pictures do not come up. We come in different ways, formats. We get ready. I'm just so impressed that you were able to pull that together. So congratulations on that. All right, we're bringing up the rear. Erica Ho, come up. Let's get Map happy. She's going to help me with my next vacation because I need one so bad. All right, everybody, Erica Ho.
I am the founder and CEO of Map Happy. We are a travel publication that gets readers to and through their destination. We're more about the process of travel and less about finding the best restaurants and bars. Fun fact, I've done 2 million miles. It's a lot. And as a former reporter for Time Magazine and Gawker, I never once turned to a travel publication to solve any of the problems I was having on the road. Instead, I was turning to Reddit, I was turning to forums, and that's really where Map Happy steps in. We cover content from anywhere on what to do if you lose your passport on the road, or even how to manage your birth control, especially if you're traveling through different time zones and you have to take it at the same time every time. And for that, we've received some of the highest industry honors. We've been invited to speak at the New York Times Travel Show twice, and we've won awards from the Society of American Travel Writers for best travel journalism sites. We reach everyone from backpackers people who are scrolling through their social media feed for the next place to go, and people who are, quite frankly, gaming frequent flyer points with their credit cards because travel is expensive. And that is reflected in our audience. Our readers spend 8 times more than a national average American on travel, spending $15K or more. 29% of them have been to 21 countries or more, and 59% of them are actively planning their trip right now. We also reach 49% of 25 to 44-year-olds who are primarily on the large coastal regions, and they have a household income of over 100K. Basically, we've kind of got that older millennial segment, which most people think is about Instagram posts and craft beer. But the real fact of the matter is most millennials are middle-aged at this point. We're busier than ever. We're taking on more responsibilities. We're having our first or second child, and we're also taking care of our parents. They come to us for reliable information, and we reach 4.2 million annual impressions a year. They're spending usually about 3 minutes on the site, getting the information that they need, and we reach up to 250,000 page views a month. And for that, we've worked with some of the biggest travel brands in the world. We've worked with them on different campaigns, from programmatic to custom media, and we're having our first event at the end of this month. We also work with Raptive, which is the largest creator network in the world, and through them, we're also able to reach 195 million monthly uniques. Case in point, back in 2017, 2 founders of what is now a billion-dollar company came to us and wanted to sort of promote their suitcase and drive brand awareness and sales. And we said to them, well, why don't we actually take the suitcase and travel with it, let's go around the world with it. Let's write up our opinions and create some original photography. Those 2 posts ended up generating over 300,000 page views and drove over $95,000 in sales to date. They also dominated the #1 Google search results for away review for almost 2 years. We really pride ourselves on editorial quality. And that's why some of the biggest writers that have worked for the New York Times or CNN and Fast Company have come to work with us. We also make it a priority to nurture up-and-coming talent as well, to make sure there are always new voices coming through. And so these are some of the people that we've worked with. Yasmin, Ian, Karina's the most photogenic in the yellow, and there's a rare photo of us in Iceland because everybody works from everywhere. Diversity is really at the core of who we are. In traditional media, most outlets employ less than 35% people of color on their staff. And we self-select that down to travel publishing. It's less than 20%. And that's, for us, it's really important that the world that writes about it look like they come from it. So let's think about some of the words that are used in travel these days. And I want to challenge you to see if you can see the issues in them. Colonial, foreign, discover, third world. These are basically all words that create a sense of otherness. And really, when travel is really all about building connection. And you're building connection at a point when most people are open to interacting with the unknown. We also have diversity initiatives within the industry. We work with the Society of American Travel Writers, and we help certify underrepresented writers as well host educational webinars. One of my particular favorites is how travel photography can actually perpetuate stereotypes. I've used the same image over and over. I think we all know about the tree in Africa. And here are some of the brands that have participated in our diversity resources. And thank you so much for your time. Yeah.
All right. When we first started working with the publishers, some people, including Erica, was like, I don't like speaking in front of people. And what we try to seed into them is that, yes, they're here pitching their amazing platforms as publishers. And yes, they need investment, but more importantly, brands need them. And so they are so well put together. Excellent. Yes. That I just want you guys to remember that what you're building is amazing. What you're doing is amazing, that you should be seen, you should be heard, and you should be invested in because you've earned the right. And I've seen you put in the work. That's why you could stand here so confidently and share your platforms. Okay, so this is what we're going to do next. I just want to give a really big shout out to General Motors, right? Because GM understands that not only do you give money, but you show up, you seed into, you build. And when I heard that they were supporting this, I was like, damn, that's smart. I need to tell other people about this, because it was just such a smart way to do good and get something good out of it. BOMESI, y'all already know, I'm going to name my next child that I can't have after y'all, for your vision and commitment to these audiences. How amazing to pull this together. So I'm going to ask the publishers to come up to take a picture. We're going to have a 20-minute break. Then we're going to have an amazing panel. And then do we get some drinks? Yes, I like a daytime drink is Vegas. Okay, so take a 20-minute break, have a little cocktail. Nobody's going to tell what happens in Vegas. Stays in Vegas. Turn the cameras off. Okay, so the publishers come up. You guys have a 20-minute break. Thank you for your complete attention while you're here and online. Thanks so much.
Thank you all so much for coming. This is a very exciting event for Cargo to participate. Cargo has been a partner with BOMESI now for a couple of years. We kicked off a very substantial program with them last year. You're going to be hearing about it from our friends at Danone and Discover. They were pioneers in the trenches with us. And the importance of this program, we call it the Multicultural Content Amplifier. We partner with BOMESI on it, is really to drive impact. We're driving impact across Black-owned publishers, across brands, across consumers, and also across the Cargo family of partners. And the first year has been amazing. We've seen some really important impact in terms of driving impressions and awareness with these Black-owned publishers. And we're really excited about 2024. And you're going to hear a little bit about what we did in 2023 and what we're looking forward to in 2024. Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm back again. I am the co-founder of BOMESI and founder of Her Agenda. I'll be bringing us through this conversation. And let's just jump right in. You know, it's happy hour, it's CES, there's so much going on, but I'm really excited to hear from every one of you on this panel today. Everyone brings a very unique perspective. I'm going to take a brief moment to introduce our folks here. To my left, we have Nicole Hayes, Senior Director, Enterprise Marketing Center of Excellence at Discover Financial. Next to, yes, a round of applause. Next to her, we have Devon Christopher Johnson, CEO and founder of Blue Life Media Group and co-founder of BOMESI. Next to him, we have Gemma Hart. She is the North American VP of Communications at Danone. And last but not least, we have Jordan Norsworthy. He is here representing Watch the Yard and is a communications media major at Alabama A&M University. Let's give him a big round of applause. So today we are diving into how brands and ad tech can drive impact while driving impressions. If you're in this room and you represent a brand, you've likely encountered roadblocks when it comes to activating spend across diverse owned media platforms. So, you know, you probably encountered things like lack of scale, experienced a lack of tech infrastructure. And if you're a publisher, you know, there's challenges you've experienced too when it comes to activating the spend that's being directed towards you. Challenges like when it comes to figuring out programmatic, when it comes to even figuring out which ad tech partners you want to align with, and simply having the budget to invest in growth, right? That would address that whole lack of scale, lack of infrastructure issue. So there's challenges on both sides. And so we want to get into, where does the solution lie? And so I want to start by just painting a picture of what it is like, what a publisher deals with when it comes to figuring out how to play competitively in this digital media landscape. So I'm going to start with Davon to set the stage, paint the picture. So there's been some progress, I think, over the last 4 years. I would say some progress. And I want to paint the picture. As a publisher, Davon, who's been around for now 18 years this year, clap it up, 18 years in the game. Let's rewind to 2019. If a brand approached you and said, we have a 500K display campaign that we want to run on Blue with a 6-week flight, what would your response have been at that time?
So the funny thing is, I would say, yes, we can do it, right? Because I need the money. I'm a publisher. I'm independent. I need to have that investment. On the other side of it, I wouldn't know how to execute that. I wouldn't know. They said, hey, the ad has to be this size. I'm like, oh, I think that's the size on my site. I'm like getting a ruler and putting it onto my laptop and trying to measure the size. They're like, the flight date. I'm like, flight, airplane, like flight. So all these things I didn't know about. And then I would ask questions for other publishers or in the industry, and there were not a lot of resources. So I would Google the best I could Google. I remember our first media kit, we had the same ad unit measurements as GQ, but GQ.com was designed by their web designers. So we did not have the same infrastructure they had. So I'm trying to sell a GQ size ad on Blue and not knowing how to get the ad digitally to the website. So I would have lost that deal. I would have lost potentially $500,000 because I would have said yes to the brand. The brand would have sent me assets, and I would have been stuck at that moment with the email in my inbox. And that's kind of the plight of a lot of independent publishers. And though I'd been around for 18 years, we were print magazine first. So digital was very second for us. And we didn't have the team or, ad ops. Because I didn't know what that was. Ad ops is a thing to execute a media plan. So all these things, there were no resources, and it was very frustrating before 2020.
Yeah. And I think you're getting into it now, but there is a second follow-up for you. What's changed in the last 5 years that has allowed you to participate in deal flow? And then how does that reflect how BOMESI overall has helped facilitate that type of change across the board for the ecosystem?
Give me the heavy questions, why don't you? I should have had 2 drinks before I got up here.
Give this man a shot.
Yeah, here's the thing. 2020 happened, right? And we had this tragedy where we watched someone murdered on social media. That's George Floyd. And that was a great reckoning, awakening for the media industry, for brands, for our country overall. And what we did with that, BOMESI specifically, but what we did that as a nation is how do we answer to the discrepancies of Black people's experiences in this country? That opened an opportunity for brands like Danone and Discover to say, you know what, we see a wrong, we want to be part of the solution. We don't know it all. We may not get it right, but we want to work with you to lean towards making this thing better. And that's what opened up. I think people, brands, agencies, ad agencies, CMOs, media planners, we're all now open because they had permission because of what happened. This great tragedy happened before us, but now we had permission to change. And then raising our hands as media publishers allowed us to be part of deal flow. So I think that's a really big thing. And it's a tragic story. But I think, and as we get further away from it and the heartstrings are not being as pulled because of George Floyd or 2020, we are now in a space where we're making a business case for it. So that opened up the window for diversity needing to be at the forefront. Now the future of our country is diverse. Your future consumers are diverse. If you want to sell the product in the future, what are you doing now to drive those sales?
Yeah, it is quite frankly not just a decision based off of wanting to do good in the world. It's not just mission focused, but it's also smart because that's what the future of this country looks like, the future of this world as we are becoming more and more global. I want to talk about the next generation content creators, and I want to look to Jordan to speak to his experiences. You're about to graduate from Alabama A&M University. You're a comms major. But you've recently started working with brands. So you're already getting started and getting your portfolio and getting real world experience working with brands. Can you talk about what that experience has been like so far? And if there's anything surprising in terms of what they expected from you versus how you typically work?
Yeah, I can't speak about it. As far as the last year, this is my first time actually traveling like business wise. So thanks to Wash the Yard, Jonathan Rabb, the founder of Wash the Yard, brought me out there to New York City for the first time ever. That was my first time ever being up north past South Carolina. And we went up there for advertising week, and the whole week it was just constant going. And that type of work kind of inspired me. Even before then, when he first called me and he made the call, I was like, hey, we're going to New York in like a week. It was my first time ever talking to him. So when he said it,
quick turnaround.
Yeah, when he said it, I was like, we're leaving Sunday. Like, I got to pack up like right now. So with all that and just getting ready for, going to New York, I learned that there was a lot of terminology and things that people do up there that I haven't been, used to or haven't heard of. A lot of business terminology, a lot of networking skills. Actually, Michael McDermott, he actually let me know like plenty of apps that I needed to showcase my portfolio. LinkedIn, there was a lot of stuff on LinkedIn that I had to fill out during that time that I did not fill out. I put that on my part. But for the most part, it was just learning a lot up there. And I think the thing that really surprised me was probably having to speak in front of everyone. I'm not really used to speaking in front of everyone.
We on the panel now.
Yeah. So, that was telling me, and I've been told this all my life, I have a good voice, but as far as speaking in front of people, I never really done it before because I was always the guy behind the camera. So, when Jonathan told me, like, you have a good voice, like, I think you should actually speak more in front of the camera, that opened up a whole new avenue for me. So that was a really
And that's a relatable point because as content creators and even as owners of media companies and publishers, we often have to wear all hats and not just be the biz dev, not just be sales, but we are also representing ourselves and our brands. And we have to, put ourselves in the spotlight often where if we were executives at big corporations, we'd be able to just really focus on our job. And so that's important to keep in mind too, as a brand, is to try to streamline process as much as possible, eliminate any meetings that are not necessary for the campaigns to be successful, and just really think about that strain that could be put onto a business where you're wearing so many hats. And so actually, Davon and I, as the co-founders of BOMESI, we think a lot about just what it takes on both sides to level the playing field. And that's how the multicultural content amplifier even came about. We've been talking about it amongst each other because it's like a chicken egg scenario, right? So in order to have scale and strong infrastructure, you need to have access to revenue. That revenue in advertising is tied to performance. Your performance is not going to generate high levels of revenue for you to invest in growth. So it's, again, that chicken egg scenario. So luckily, as we've been thinking about this, we talked to Cargo and we set up this very unique program that not only gives, display ads across platforms, there's that too, but it also funds content creation. It underwrites the creation of articles. It allows us to hire writers that then write the articles or publish the articles on those platforms. So we're growing supply. We're telling stories, which is really what we're focused on, is being able to tell more stories, own our story. And so that's just the program on a high level. But I want to get into it a little bit more and invite Discover and Janone to share a little bit about why did you sign up to be part of the Multicultural Content Amplifier? And then how does participating in the program really reflect your company's mission and values?
I love that. I'm going to take it first, if that's okay. So I think what's exciting about the Multicultural Amplifier for us is it really is a 1 + 1 = 3, to Renisha's point. We pride ourselves as a financial brand. Our mission is all about helping people spend smarter, save more, and manage debt better so that everybody has a better financial future. And as part of that, we really do pride ourselves as an inclusive brand. Inclusive that, unlike other financial services, and particularly credit card companies that may offer more of a VIP experience and an exclusivity, we're for everybody. We offer cash back for everybody on debit and credit. And we really try to live into those missions around inclusivity, both internally with ERGs that bring belonging and inclusivity to our own employee workforce, and equally to the consumers we want to represent. And so when we
we're approached with this program, and as we live our inclusive values, it's so important for communities to hear and see and have content in their voice from their voices. And we want to support that because it's important for us to reach all of our consumers in ways that are meaningful and resonant to them. And I think the unique part about this program is it isn't just helping us from a business perspective in putting our message out to consumers. It is helping grow content to diverse voices, and particularly also helping build infrastructure and employment to grow skills and services and up-level all of the content that's out there for communities. So it's a phenomenal program. We're so happy to be a part of it.
Thank you.
So I'll just build on that. That was great, Nicole. So maybe a little bit about Danone, just to set the context for you guys. You guys probably know.
Love setting the context. You know that.
So you probably know that Danone is a very large food and beverage company. What you might not know is that we're very unique in terms of our legal and governance structure, that we are committed to use our business as a force for good. So in the US, we're a public benefit corporation. We're one of the world's largest B Corps. And so it means that our impact strategy is intertwined with our growth strategy. And then our mission globally is to bring health through food to as many people as possible. And so inclusion and belonging is part of our mission and our reason for being as a company. And so Devon mentioned the terrible tragedy of 2020. That was a moment when I think we as humans, kind of reassessed, and as companies obviously reassessed. And one of the things that we did as a company was look at our overall diversity and inclusion strategy and say, like, how can we do more? How can we drive more impact? And that strategy flows across multiple different pillars, right? So how do we recruit diverse talent and retain them? How do we drive impact at the community level? How do we use our advocacy to lobby for racial justice? And the fourth pillar is around market, which is the ecosystem of everything that makes Danone work, like all of our different partners and suppliers, and how do we potentially use that influence to drive change and impact? And within that sat media. And we did an audit of our media buying for diverse-owned publishers, and the number was less than 1%. So that's obviously something that we couldn't accept. And then we set a goal of 2%, and that sounds really simple. And I think the point that you guys have made is that it sounds simple and it's really hard. And that's what we discovered, is actually going on that journey to build capacity, to meet publishers, to be able to vet them, to see if they had the ability to take on a business as big as ours. All of these things were harder, I think, than we had necessarily anticipated. And so then I think there was a moment like this where Jennifer from Cargo approached one of my colleagues at Danone, wonderful gentleman, Mike Solet, and said, I think we might have a solution, something we could partner on together with BOMESI. And this was the beginning of the accelerator. And so we are now at 4% in terms of diverse-owned publishers.
That's great. Round of applause.
Amazing. As of the end of 2023, and the goal for this year is 5%. So I think that, as with all things, we need to track and set new goals and then work really hard against them. And we're very, very grateful for all of your help and for the partnership in doing this in a way that makes sense on both sides.
And this is a very intentional program that has a lot of layers to it. And often it's hard for brands to grasp it, but you guys really trusted us and leaned in. And I think it speaks to, you take that risk, but for the greater good. You're like, okay, this, we might not know all of the parts, but we're going to build the plane with you guys as you fly it. And now we're cruising and growing. And part of, the program is not just article creation too. What we're expanding into this year is video. And that's part of the reason why Watch the Yard is here with us. And you see they are capturing video content and they're creating video assets that will focus on, healthy eating, which is what Danone is promoting this year, and educating around nutrition. They're even doing work on HBCU campuses and also, finance and financial health, which is Discover's focus. So there's going to be some really great videos that come out of this, and that we were able to fund that through this program, fly these students in from wherever they were studying, and pay them to create this content. They're not volunteering, they're not getting school credit, they're paid content creators. So that's fantastic. Round of applause to you. I don't know, Jordan, if you want to speak to how it's been so far.
I can. It's been really nice. Again, this is my
first time in Vegas, right?
Yeah, first time being in Vegas. First time being second time being on the West Side. I went to LA back in 2021.
Wait, can we pause here? First time in Vegas and speaking at CES. That's powerful.
Exactly. It's first time in Vegas and speaking at CES. So it's just a lot is I wouldn't say thrown out there, because I can, it's something that's manageable. I can handle it, but it really was just thrown out there. And luckily, because of the work that I've done, and, me and Miles working nonstop, a lot of the stuff that we've done is prepared us for this. So yeah, it's been a real experience, and I'm enjoying it so far.
And like I said, this program has a lot of layers. And so I wanted to add some color to it from a publisher perspective. So Devon, can you speak a little bit more about what your experience has been with the MCA, how this partnership has started, how it's grown, and what potential you think it holds for the future of Black-owned and diverse-owned media?
Everyone's laughing, like, what's he gonna say? So I'm tough, right? And I scrutinize anything that brings up diversity and inclusion, and I want to make sure it's not tokenism. I fight against that all the time with my brand, but also as a co-founder of BOMESI. So we only allow ourselves to be aligned with brands that are authentic. And it means a lot to have the Known and Discover here with us during CES, right? This attendance is 200,000 people come to CES. And for you guys as brands to sit here with us and take time out means a lot. And sticking around. Because a lot of programs, have been started to kind of raise your hand around diversity and then set us up for failure. And it's been really great that it's been patient. It's been collaborative. We've given feedback on both sides. We've allowed space for creativity. Having Watch the Yard, having students from HBCUs here is super important, because how we speak to each other as a culture is something that corporations don't know about, right? They don't have that inside scoop on how we communicate and how we build our brands. And more importantly, why we build our brands in the first place, right? We're not tech bros. We're not, the cool guys. We're actually telling the stories of our people, because the stories of our people aren't told other places. So media is not just something that's flashy and glossy. It's education for our community. It's highlighting those that are fighting every day for our existence, right? So we wanted to make sure any partnership we have meets that criteria. It's not just about the money, right? Because that's the case, and we would sell ourselves to whatever, or I'd take that 500,000 and wish it away, right? We want to be aligned with brands that really support the effort and put action behind their words, because that's what's important. Is as we again get further away from 2020, and we're in 2024 now. By next year, we won't talk about 2020. We have a 5-year cycle in our society around news and impact. So what happens in 2025? And I think we're laying roots now for 2025.
Yeah. I think it's important to highlight what you said, is that, with BOMESI as an organization, we exist to really be that trusted resource to diverse-owned media. And what's important to highlight is just, diverse-owned media has been around for, nearly 200 years, Black-owned media. The Freedmen's Journal, one of the first publications to come out owned by a Black man. But, over the years, we have a lot of legacy publications in the room too, Black Enterprise, Rolling Out. And what has stood out is just over the years, there's been a lot of predatory behavior, especially in the world of ad tech. And so we're aware of that and very sensitive to it. And that's why when we do introduce a partnership, we really stand behind it, because we've done our due diligence. We're not just, putting forward just people just for the sake of putting them forward. We're just judging them based off their word. We're like, you need to show us in order for us to really let you into this network and this community. And you talked about putting action behind your words. And I think Discover and Known, they really embody that for sure. And so funding initiatives that are rooted in purpose, that's not new to you guys. And that's something that resonated with us as well. So can you talk a little bit about the initiatives and just what your brand stands behind that's really driving change forward? You talked a little bit about it with the financial wellness piece, but I know Discover was one of the first brands, the financial institutions to introduce free FICO scores to everyday consumers, which was huge. So would love for you both to touch on that piece of it.
I think part of it is financial literacy, right? And building, not just selling products, but truly helping communities, not just the Black community, all communities understand and be able to navigate finance. So we've got a number of programs. You are right. We were the first credit card company back in 2018 to offer free FICO scores, right? Understanding the basis for credit. We've partnered with programs in junior highs and elementary schools to really start to build curriculum. Started pre-COVID, where we have employees who are going into classrooms across the U.S. to deliver that. And during COVID, pivoted to a partnership with Discovery to create online content that has exponentially grown, kind of our Pathways program to help build financial literacy. I think in living the mission, we really pride ourselves on our ERGs, right, and bringing inclusivity and representation into the workforce. And another opportunity that we've been super proud of is really the stand-up of our call center in Chatham, in the south side of Chicago, right, helping to build employment and career opportunities for a largely Black community. Every nail that went into that building was sourced from diverse builders. We bring in diverse catering from the neighborhood. There's 90% of the employees live within, I'd say, a 15-mile radius. So really creating an opportunity for professional jobs and opportunity in the south side of Chicago. And then through that call center, we've now started to stand up brand technology, right, and helping to build career upskilling to give people access to digital tools and really starting to, right, come into other aspects of our corporation beyond the call center. So that's just, externally and internally where we feel it is so important to represent and be inclusive to every voice out there.
There's so many examples that I'm proud of. I'm going to pick one that I think shows the snowballing effect of having these relationships of trust and how that helps to drive impact. And it starts with Deion Sanders. So you guys may know that one of our brands is Oikos, and we have had Super Bowl spots at the last 4 Super Bowls that have starred Deion and then members of his family. And it started off that, we sort of had a business relationship with him. And then we got to know him and we invited him to our leadership team meeting a year and a half ago. And we said to him, what could we do to deepen our relationship? This is 2 years ago when he was still at Jackson State. And he said, help at Jackson State. You guys are experts in nutrition. You have so much resource and education around nutrition. And, I think 50% of historically Black colleges are in food deserts. Like, we need some of your insights and help. And I think Deion had paid for the new stadium at Jackson State himself, right, on his own dime. That's what I heard. So we started a partnership with Jackson State that was focused on their athletics team, started with the football team, as you would expect, where we were helping them, yes, with product, but also with access to our nutritionists and experts. And then fast forward, we did a big piece of research last year on the topic of inclusive nutrition, right? This is so bringing health through food to as many people as possible. We often start with the data, and we did a really great new piece of research, 4,000 Americans, and leaned into underserved communities, asking about kind of their approach to nutrition and to nutritious foods and the challenges that they had around access and availability. And we used the research to convene experts in the space so that we could hear from them as to how we could action against some of the gaps that were identified. And I'm bringing this back, like part of the experts was the team from Jackson State, right? So we listened to them. It's a symbiotic relationship where we can help in certain ways, but they can also help to provide their insights so that what we're doing is authentic and relevant to the community. And Oikos has an ongoing relationship with Jackson State. And this year, what we're looking to do is to step up our commitment We're looking at snack stations, for example, and making them more nutritious. We continue to provide product. We continue to provide educational resources. And this year, we're looking at on-campus content creators so that we can amplify what we're doing across the campus. So I think that there's something really holistic in what you described, Nicole, but that's when the magic happens, when we can get all the different aspects pulling in the same direction.
I love that. And I want to wrap us up because we still have more mingling to do. We've got some new folks that came in the room to join us. So we want to make sure you're able to network and connect with each other. But I want to bring it over to Jordan, as representing the next generation. How do we help the next generation continue to advance? How do we empower and equip you? You're in a room full of marketers, brands, publishers. So what's your message in terms of what they can do to empower the next generation of content creators?
I would say the main thing would probably be, if I could really put it into one word and just expound off of that, probably inclusiveness. Because I've noticed for the past, past like 5-year cycle, like I has been, I've noticed that the newer generation, which is me included, but like the newer generation, they like it when a lot of people are, everybody from everywhere is in one spot. Even with social media, you can perfectly see the example through there. You can, pull up something on your feed, and you might see that over in California. Somebody all the way in France might see the same thing because we're all attracted to the same thing now. So when it comes to brands, just having to include as many people as you can while also keeping your integrity and with the, the reason why you make the brand. So yeah, basically, just keeping the reason why you made the brand, but also trying to, bring in diversity in,
Yeah, I love that inclusivity, integrity, and just making sure you're widening the net and widening the lens. And that's something that we really focus on a lot with BOMESI. It's a yes and type of approach where, yes, you work with this company that we all probably know because they've been around for 50 years. But then what about this other company over here? They might have been around for 10 years. Maybe you haven't worked with them, but that doesn't mean that they don't bring value, that their community doesn't bring value. So definitely inclusivity, integrity as well. I want to bring this last question to anyone to speak to. Just how do we continue to level the playing field for diverse suppliers?
Ooh, okay. I think, one, you have to take the first step and stand behind the words and the mission that your brand says you want to do. That's the first step. Jordan made a great point about inclusivity. Try something different. For a long time, the same Black-owned platforms were getting all advertising deals, right? But we don't limit the non-Black platforms to be part of advertising deals, so why not the yes and thing expand some more? But then also have the understanding that because we have been left out of that ecosystem of sales and advertising dollars, there's a bit of learning curve that has to happen. And that's some of the work BOMESI does. Some of you were here earlier. We had our 7 accelerator graduates present. We're building an infrastructure. So I think BOMESI will be the first stop on your road for diversifying how you spend. And also, yes, 1% is not a lot. 4% is great, but it's still not enough. But at least willing to double down on that. And I was on a panel a few months ago, and we said, you know what, let's celebrate the small wins, right? So 1 to 2 is great, and 2 can become 4. We learned from that. 1 is not enough. Again, I'll say that, but we know that now. What is the solution to get us to 10%, 20%? And actually, the country is going to be minority within 7 years. So when do we get that? When do we flip that around where general market is just everyone? We don't have to say general and diverse or Black or Hispanic. General market will be inclusive, that word again, of everyone that needs to be at the table. So these are those first steps. I think showing up, brands being authentic, and being patient. And advertising happens in a circle, right? It's not just spots and dots. I think that your example with Deion Sanders is really great. Stands of nutrition and food and identifying food deserts. That's the way you really get embedded. People of color are super loyal to brands. We've always been loyal to brands that are loyal to us. So showing up in unexpected places is the way to be authentic.
Let me just echo a little bit. I think part of it, and you've heard this word now a couple times across the panel, but partnership and really understanding what both sides, right? Where you're coming from, what you need, what it takes, or where to open doors or how to help. And then advocacy too, right? We're so proud and up here on this stage, and I would want all of my competition, in addition to all of the great marketing and brands that are out there, to lean in and spend. So, building an opportunity to talk about it to multiple people and to marketers and to brands that are out there, to invite them to come along on the journey is important. But equally, advocacy and helping open doors inside of agencies or access to other marketers, right, so important in not only understanding what diverse publishers and small business owners need and what our brands need and how we can build partnership, but equally how we can help get a bigger seat at the table too.
I think if I could just add one word, it would be creativity. I think that we've got to this place because we were willing to think differently and ask different new questions and be willing to accept that we didn't have the answers. And I think that having that creative mindset moving forward and the willingness to find solutions together is what will continue to advance the impact.
Everyone with the word inclusivity, creativity. I love this. Well, thank you all so much for this incredible conversation. Such great insights. Thank you so much.